At Heritage, we bus probably 90% of our students to school. So if I didn't have transportation, we would not have a school. We would not have a population to have a school here. Williams is the gateway to the Grand Canyon, so a lot of tourism is here. This is where you take the train to get up to the Grand Canyon, so that is the most common reason people come. The Polar Express is also here, so in the winter we have.
Most of our students are from the tourist industry. Their parents work in either the hotels or the restaurants that are in town, or for the Grand Canyon train.
So when I talk about Williams, I basically explain it as an incredibly small town, and if they wanted to visit, be ready to kind of be taken back in time, because we are still back in like the Wild West days. We still do our Wild West shows and things like that, so.
Our Williams campus has been in existence for about 20 years. We have fluctuated between 70 to 90 students at any given year.
We serve kinder through 8th grade students. Most of them live outside of town, so they live in more rural areas where they do water haul.
Our house is like 12 miles off of the actual road since we live off grid. So we're still building onto our house, and it's sometimes easy to get to depending on what the weather is trying to agree with us with.
So a lot of our population of Heritage are on the free and reduced program, which means we do have a lot below the poverty level. And therefore, those families don't have their own transportation or reliable transportation.
It's very expensive to live in town. There is no public transportation, and there is no Uber or Lyft or rideshare programs in the city.
So what that means for our students in this area is they rely solely on school transportation to get them to and from school. And so the solution at that time, based on our budget, is we got 2 very old 15-passenger vans, which was kind of a Band-Aid on a much bigger problem because those would often break down as well.
So my kids have attended Heritage since they were in 1st grade. I live north of Williams, so about 7 miles north of Williams, and my kids utilized the van before I was an employee. They would come out and get picked up every morning and dropped off in the afternoon. And then about a year and a half ago, I started driving the van, and I've learned a lot of parents cannot afford to bring their kids into town gas-wise. Some parents don't even have a vehicle.
When we began looking for ways to solve our transportation issue was when the governor had first announced that he had received a set of money from the federal government and that he had given that to the A for Arizona group to disseminate amongst schools for transportation and solving transportation problems. When we applied for the grants, we were very excited about the potential of being able to solve these problems. The issue was that it's a competitive grant, and there are a lot of people applying who also have very true needs for students in their schools.
A lot of time our school gets overlooked because we are so small that a lot of people who offer grants find our population like not impactful enough. So I was hopeful, but I did not have the expectation to get the grant.
I still remember we were sitting in a restaurant parking lot, and I got a phone call, and it was from a number that I wasn't familiar with, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to answer this phone call. So I answered the phone call, and it's A for Arizona telling me that we had just been awarded the grant for the van. And I was hollering in a parking lot in my car with my husband sitting next to me, having no idea why I'm hollering. I immediately called the principal here and the superintendent, and I said, we just got the money to be able to solve this problem. And all of us were just ecstatic.
When Chris Johnson, our grant writer, called me, and she said, I have the best news. We've been given the grant. You have been accepted. You are going to be getting new vans. And the first thing I did was tell my van drivers who have been struggling with like the old dilapidated vehicles, and we were so excited. And then COVID was happening and our vans weren't coming on time, and we were just like waiting and waiting. And the moment the first one rolled in, it was like a celebratory moment for us and the kids. The kids went outside and saw it and were so excited about this new van and how fancy it was, and they all wanted to ride the new van. And the kids that weren't on that van were so like disappointed that that wasn't their van, and they were in awe of like how new it was. I don't think any of these kids have had a new vehicle to like have in their life. It was fun to see how excited they were about something that is just a lot of people everyday life.
I like riding the van because it's peaceful and relaxing.
When I first got the phone call, I thought we were getting one van. And I thought that is fantastic. That is, one van that we need so desperately. And then when I found out we actually were approved for 2, it was almost overwhelming because we have solved like significantly more issues than I thought like initially we were solving. And so because of the amount that our school has given, which I don't know if I've ever received a grant that large, it was so nice to know that like our school mattered to someone and that our transportation issues would be so much lessened than we have had in the past.